If you have ever looked at your past attempts and thought, why do I always end up starting over? Then this episode is for you. Today, I'm going to be talking what it would look like if this really was the last time you had to start over. Not because you did everything perfectly, but because you finally started building habits that you can live with. And you have changed the way you thought about yourself, so you're dropping the shame and guilt. So today, I'm going to be talking about consistency without pressure, what progress really looks like without extremes, and how support and accountability can change everything for you, especially after 40. So I'm not going to give you a completely new program, a certain diet to follow, but I'm going to give you a different approach that you can follow so you don't have to start over again. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. All right, friends, so let's think. What if this was the last time you start over? So first, I want you to picture yourself 1 year from now. Not perfect, but just moving in that direction that you want your health to go. Maybe you're physically stronger. Maybe you're calmer around foods, like you don't have that craving, that pull for some of those foods. Maybe you're consistent most of the weeks. Maybe 1 year from now, you just don't beat yourself up after having a rough day and spiral and keep those rough days going. Maybe you start to trust yourself again. So think about, what is something you want from yourself 1 year from now that you would feel good about when it comes to your health? And what is something if you think 3 years from now? What would you be doing? How would you be feeling? How would you be moving? Sometimes we don't have to have this big dramatic change. We're not going to see that day to day or month to month. But if we can find things that we stay consistent with, then we will get there. Right? How you're living 3 years from now may be dramatically different, but it's probably not going to be a month from now for something that is sustainable. So when we start to change habits, we're only doing some at a certain time. Everything doesn't happen at once. But I want you to have this picture of yourself in your mind. What is that 1 year from now? 3 years from now? How would you be feeling? What would you be doing around food? What would you be thinking about food or not thinking about food, right? Sometimes we obsess about food too much. So maybe think about that and write that down. Visualize that picture in your head so you know where you want to go. And know that we don't get there overnight or sometimes in a month or even a few months. Sometimes it can take a while to get there where we have that lasting change. Not just that diet, not just that quick fix, not just that magic pill that makes us not hungry and not eat, but lasting change. And I just want to pause and tell you guys about one thing I think is super important is to keep things simple. And this is one of the reasons why I've been using Organifi's green juice for over a couple years now. Because I know that in this little drink, I can get my clinical dose of ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen herb, which helps my nervous system. If you start looking at more holistic doctors and perimenopause, menopause, you're going to find this adaptogen herb pop up a bunch. But it also has all those greens that help with energy and detoxification. So this has been my go-to morning drink to have. I like to mix mine with some unsweetened almond milk and protein powder. I've also done it with just water, and then I like to squeeze lime in it. So use the code HEALTHY20 to save 20% off, and you can use this code anytime. So if you reorder, make sure you use that code HEALTHY20 so you can keep saving. And there's going to be a link down below for you. Okay, so let's head back to it. So now we have this vision of ourselves a year from now, 3 years from now. We're thinking this bigger picture because a lot of times our culture thinks of these short-term results, right? It doesn't happen too often, but I have had a client in the past who comes and she's wanting that quick fix, right? She did some weight loss drugs before and got that quick fix. Obviously, she couldn't sustain it. So after like a month of working with me, she was not feeling great because she wasn't getting those fast results. So we have to really redefine what success looks like, because we want success that is going to last. It doesn't mean our journey there is perfect, but we want to set ourselves up with things that can last. So when it comes to habits, I like clients to be at about 80 to 90% consistency. And this is hard for some perfectionists who like, if I have a habit, I want to do it all the time. And sometimes that is not life. Because the thing to remember is we want to be consistent most of the time, because that's what's going to provide us with success. But we also want to be in a place where if things don't go how we want it to, like maybe we had a busy day and we couldn't stop for lunch and eat our salad, but we don't want to get stuck in that guilt and shame or think that that's the reason we can keep eating junk food the rest of the day because we already messed up at lunch. So we have to have compassion, kindness. We have to get out of that all or nothing mindset. We have to keep going even when weeks aren't perfect, when all these different things pop up in life, all these external things to us that happen with other people or other things that we have to do. How are we going to handle that? And when we want to make a change in our health, we have to do that slowly. We can't add a bunch of habits in at once, right? We've all have probably done some diet, whether that's keto, Whole30, whatever it is. It's very strict. It's very rigid. You have to change a lot of things. And most people don't continue with those. So we want to think of a way of how we can make changes slowly so they become integrated into us and they become easy, right? Because once a habit becomes integrated, it is easy. It is not easy at first, and sometimes we need to figure out how to sort of push ourselves a little bit. But if we're doing it in a way that respects ourselves without going extreme, we're going to have a lot more success. And another way to redefine success is know that it's not going to be perfect. One of my clients that I've been working with for a while, she has realized that the road is bumpy. Like some weeks are better than others, but she has slowly implemented one habit at a time. So she might be focusing on one new habit for a few weeks before we add another habit. And she has found that this helps her to really integrate that habit into her life, and it becomes easier. But she also knows that life comes up and things may come up with her kids or her work or her life or her house or whatever that is, and the road is bumpy. So I want you to think in your head, since you cannot see me, picture a straight line going down. That is what people want weight loss to be, the straight line going down. But in reality, most people's, it's not going to be a straight line. It's going to go up and down, but it is going to be going down. So the trajectory is still downward, but it is a little up and down. So that is usually what I see when people are losing weight in a healthy way. So we have to redefine what success looks like and what that journey looks like. So progress means that we just keep showing back up. We don't give up on ourselves, and we don't have to be 100% perfect. And you guys, quick fixes just don't last. So before you start anything, think, is this a quick fix? Am I hoping for a quick result? Is that quick result going to stick? If it's not going to stick, let's go with a different plan, right? There's all these appetite suppressing drugs that suppress your appetite so you don't eat and you lose weight quickly. But it doesn't teach you habits. It doesn't teach you how to have control around food. It doesn't give you a solution for life. It gives you a solution as long as you are taking this drug that can come with side effects. And so when you get off and hunger cues come back, often the weight does too, and nothing has changed underneath. You had this time period that you took that thing and you lost weight. And that's the end of the story for most people. Now, always talk to your doctor about drugs, and there may be some cases where a drug is the best solution for somebody. But what I want us to focus on today is what is within our control and how can we approach this with a way that respects ourselves, respects the way our body works and our mind works and habit change works. So we need something different, right? We can't keep repeating the same thing. Like, even though it could be a different diet, maybe it's keto, maybe it's a juice cleanse, maybe it's Whole30, whatever it is, it may look a little different, but if we keep repeating it, we're going to get the same outcome. It's not sustainable. And just because we do something that is more sustainable and progress might be slower, it doesn't mean it's weaker. It means that it's something we can sustain. It means that it's something that we can actually reach that 1 or that 3-year goal with. Right? If you want to follow a super strict diet and you can't maintain that for 3 years, you're not going to reach that 3-year vision you have for yourself. So backtrack yourself. How can I get there? Maybe this new season of life needs a new approach. Maybe I need to speak to myself different. Maybe I need to be kinder to myself. That's a big one with most people. Because a lot of times when we approach weight loss, we approach it from this like external thing. This is what I need to eat. This is what I need to drink. This is how I need to exercise. This totally external thing. But a lot of times it's an internal thing. It's how do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel when I ate that donut I didn't want to and I'm sabotaging myself and I'm just going to go eat more junk food the rest of the day? It's that internal thing when I have a craving for something that brings me back to childhood or I'm sad and I go and grab something. It's an internal thing when we think about setting up habits and what those habits are and what those habits mean to us and what we're making them mean. So there's a lot of internal stuff that goes on for us to make this lasting change. So if you're looking at something, a program or a diet, and it's all external, what I am going to eat, drink, exercise, like that doing, and you're not working on that internal thought work, that mindset, if you're not making new neural connections in your brain, if you're not processing emotions and thoughts, you're not going to be able to make those changes that you need to. So for a lot of people, accountability changes everything. A lot of people don't spiral because of the food. They spiral because of the shame that they're feeling over eating something that happened one time. For example, I've heard many different scenarios of this. Maybe for someone's birthday, they had sugar and then they feel guilty. And then they think, well, I might as well keep eating. And we get stuck into that spiral because of those thoughts that we're having. So for a lot of clients with an example like that, I like to use EFT or tapping to help clear that guilt and calm our nervous system. Because if we have the tools to do that, then we're not stuck in that spiral. That is that internal work that I'm talking about. And we can have compassion for ourselves. It can lead to a plan instead of quitting, right? Nobody's perfect. I am not perfect. I was telling one of my clients recently that even I, who am in a good place in weight and body and feel good, went out with my husband and I ate more than I needed to and I did not feel good afterwards. Like that still happened to me. And that's okay. One, I don't like how it feels, but I'm not going to get stuck in the guilt and shame and think like it doesn't matter. I can pause and think like, why did I eat more than I needed to? What was going on? How can I support myself for next time? And we have that compassion for ourselves. So we don't have to start all over. We just return to the plan, right? If we are busy or traveling or something else is happening in our life, we can adjust our workouts, our food, or our expectations for that time period. We don't have to give up. And we start to do this, and we have more compassion and kindness for ourselves. We start to build trust in ourselves because we follow through, even if it's imperfect. We can just sort of get right back. We can do a little mini reset. But it's not like we're starting a whole new thing. Because when we make these small habit changes, it works. We don't need a whole new plan. We might need to adjust something. We might need to adjust that habit. But it's huge when we can start to trust ourselves. So remember, you don't need perfection, but what you do need is structure, compassion, and support. And this really could be the last time that you start over. And I encourage you that if any of you guys feel that you need that support or that accountability to get to where you want to go, to get to that 1 year or that 3-year vision, set up a free call with me. I have my personal training app where I can do habit coaching, exercise, lay everything out for you. We can also do health coaching to work on that internal, that deeper work. So you don't have to do this alone. And you don't have to keep starting over. You just have to do this in a way that is sustainable. So if you would like some extra support, check the link in the description to set up a free call or see how you can work with me on my website. All right, friends, keep on moving and have a great week.